What happens when three brothers discover that only one can inherit a kingdom? In the ancient city of Caledon, this question would tear apart a royal family and reshape the destiny of an entire realm. In the heart of ancient Greece, where gods walked among mortals and fate determined the rise and fall of kingdoms, family bonds often proved more fragile than bronze shields in battle. The Greeks understood that power corrupts, ambition destroys, and even blood ties can't survive the lure of a crown. Our story begins with Portheon, a noble king of Caledon in Aetolia, a mountainous region in western Greece. This wasn't just any ordinary kingdom. Caledon sat strategically along important trade routes, its fertile lands blessed by the gods, its people renowned for their fierce independence and warrior spirit. Portheon ruled wisely for many years, but like all mortals, he faced the inevitable question of succession. The king had three sons, Agrios, Melas, and Oeneus. Each possessed the royal blood of Caledon, each believed he deserved the throne, and each would soon discover that destiny rarely follows the path we expect. Agrios, the eldest, embodied everything the Greeks associated with untamed wildness. His name literally meant wild or savage, and he lived up to this fierce reputation. Strong, aggressive, and ruthless in battle, Agrios commanded respect through fear. He believed his birthright as the firstborn guaranteed him the crown, and he wasn't shy about making his intentions known. Melas, whose name meant black or dark, represented the shadowy side of royal ambition. Cunning where Agrios was brutal, calculating where his brother was impulsive, Melas preferred manipulation to direct confrontation. He understood that kingdoms were won not just on battlefields, but in council chambers and through carefully crafted alliances. Then there was Oeneus, the youngest of the three. His name, meaning wine man, hinted at his future connection to Dionysus, the god of wine and celebration. Unlike his brothers, Oeneus possessed a quality that would prove decisive: divine favor. The gods saw something special in this youngest prince, a wisdom and nobility that his older brothers lacked. When Portheon grew old and the time came to choose his successor, the kingdom of Caledon found itself at a crossroads. By traditional law, Agrios should inherit. By political cunning, Melas had positioned himself advantageously. But the gods had other plans. The competition for the throne wasn't decided through a simple announcement or peaceful transition. Instead, it unfolded as a complex drama involving divine signs, political maneuvering, and ultimately, supernatural intervention. Agrios made his claim through strength and intimidation. He gathered loyal warriors, reminded everyone of his status as firstborn, and made it clear that he would fight anyone who challenged his right to rule. His supporters argued that tradition demanded the eldest son inherit, regardless of personal qualities. Melas took a different approach. He cultivated relationships with influential nobles, made promises to various factions, and used his intelligence to outmaneuver his brothers politically. He understood that ruling required more than brute force, and he positioned himself as the practical choice for stability and prosperity. But Oeneus had something his brothers couldn't match: divine blessing. The gods, particularly Dionysus, favored the youngest prince. This wasn't arbitrary favoritism. Oeneus had demonstrated the qualities the Greeks valued most in their leaders: justice, wisdom, piety, and respect for both gods and mortals. The turning point came when divine signs began appearing throughout Calydon. Grapes grew larger and sweeter than ever before, wine flowed more freely, and celebrations became more joyous. The people interpreted these signs as clear indication of divine preference for Oeneus. More dramatically, Dionysus himself intervened in the succession crisis. The god of wine appeared to various citizens in dreams and visions, making his choice unmistakably clear. When gods speak, mortals listen, even ambitious princes with their own agendas. Agrios and Melas found themselves fighting not just each other, but divine will itself. Agrios, true to his savage nature, initially refused to accept defeat. He attempted to seize the throne through force, but his efforts were thwarted by supernatural occurrences. Weapons broke at crucial moments, allies abandoned him after receiving divine warnings, and his own strength seemed to desert him when he needed it most. Melas, ever the strategist, recognized the futility of opposing the gods. He withdrew his claim, choosing pragmatic submission over destructive resistance. This decision would later prove wise, as Aeneas, unlike many mythological rulers, showed mercy to his defeated brothers. Oeneus ascended to the throne of Calydon with divine blessing and popular support. His reign would become legendary, marked by prosperity, justice, and strong relationships with the gods. Under his rule, Calydon flourished as never before. Its wines became famous throughout Greece, and its people enjoyed unprecedented peace and abundance. But this story teaches us more than just the triumph of divine will over human ambition. It reflects the Greek understanding that true leadership requires more than birthright or cunning. The gods favored Oeneus not because he was their arbitrary choice, but because he embodied the qualities necessary for just rule. The tale of Portheon's three sons resonates with timeless themes that remain relevant today: sibling rivalry, the corrupting influence of power, the importance of divine favor or moral authority in leadership, and the ultimate triumph of justice over mere ambition continue to shape human societies. This myth also illustrates the Greek belief that the gods actively participate in human affairs, especially when it comes to questions of justice and rightful rule. Unlike modern democratic systems, ancient Greek kingship was seen as divinely sanctioned, and rulers who lacked divine approval inevitably faced downfall. Oeneus would go on to become one of the most respected kings in Greek mythology, father of heroes, and host to gods. His story reminds us that sometimes the least expected candidate possesses the greatest potential for greatness. The brothers' competition for the Caledonian throne ultimately demonstrates that true power comes not from force or manipulation, but from character, wisdom, and divine blessing. In a world where might often makes right, this ancient tale offers hope that justice can still prevail. What if your greatest beauty became your most terrible curse? What if the very place meant to protect you became the scene of your ultimate destruction? In the shadowed halls of ancient temples,